Good morning. My name is Reverend Leslie Goodwin, and I'm one of your senior ministers along with Reverend Karen. And I want to give my thanks to Mark. Both of his featured songs today were written specifically for this annual theme we have going, which is the spiritual hero's journey. And it's combining Joseph Campbell's hero's journey with the idea that all of us are on our own spiritual journey, that life is the spiritual hero's journey that we're all delving into with whatever is going on with us. So that's what we're doing all year long. So I want to add my welcome to Reverend Karen's welcome. If this is the first time you're joining us through the miracle of technology, welcome to New Vision Center. You might want to consider going back to the January talks to catch up on the cycle, because we're moving our way through, over the course of the year, through the spiritual hero's journey. And if it is not your first time with us, I want to really congratulate you. I want to congratulate you and give you lots and lots of love, because I understand that it has been a challenge to face screens for a year. So I just really, really honor you. We welcome you. We love you so much. We can feel your energy. I know you can feel us too. And the time will come very soon when coming together in person is something that we can look forward to and enjoy. So today's talk is called When the Doorway is Blocked. When the doorway is blocked. So let's talk about where we're at in the story. I'm wondering if a handheld microphone might be better for me today. No, okay, we're just going with it. Fantastic. So here's where we're at in the story. We've had these moments where we feel the divine call. Feel into yourself and see what that thing is that you just want. You just want it. Whether it be, I want to play music, or I want that different career, or I want a different kind of life, or a different adventure, or to go somewhere, or climb something. I mean, what your call can be is so personal and so individual. And it feels bigger than you feel equipped to just do, right? The calling is there, the want is there, and yet, where do we go with it? So we've talked about accepting the call and sometimes rejecting the call along the way. Sometimes there's a little bit of a rejection of the call, but coming to an acceptance of the call. We've talked about learning all these different kinds of love, self-love, family love, the love of nature, the love of community itself, how to nurture compassion within ourselves, how to build a tribe, a family of people to carry us through this path, all of these steps along the way. And in whatever our path is, imagine there's the big gateway. And on the other side is a magical other land where all of our dreams live. And we get up to the gateway and it's blocked. Something is in our way. On the chart, it looks like this. See the nice big block there? Something is in our way. There's the normal world. We're still in it. The unknown, the extraordinary life is right there, but there's something in our way. Joseph Campbell would call that thing a threshold guardian. So this is the definition. The forces that stand in the way at important turning points, including jealous enemies, professional gatekeepers, or even the hero's own fears or doubts. Even the hero's own fears or doubts. And here in Science of Mind, we would argue that it's always an expression of our consciousness, that every blockage, every barrier, every stopping point is an expression of our own consciousness, giving us the opportunity to dig deeper into our own expression of consciousness. Now, your personal threshold guardian might show up as a boss that doesn't want to give you a promotion that you deserve. It might show up as a lack of clarity on where to go next. It might show up as feeling like you don't know who to call or what to do to take the next step to move forward. It might feel like I don't have the skills to do that. There's a million ways these barriers can show up for us, sometimes in the form of people, sometimes in the form of just things we don't know how to do yet. So how do we deal with a threshold guardian when it's showing up in our own spiritual hero's journey? We're on the edge. We've spent 2 months gathering all of our resources, packing our rucksack full of all the spiritual practices that we reminded ourselves that we know. We're right there. How do we move past the threshold guardian? So that's what we're going to talk about today. What do we do when it seems like that doorway is blocked? So the first thing we do is we do not turn back. We do not turn back. In spiritual circles, we talk quite a lot about things that are forced, but not wanting to force situations. And sometimes when people bump up against a threshold guardian, they will say, does this mean it's forced? Does this mean the universe is saying no to me? Is this not supposed to be mine? I want us all to take a nice deep breath here. That is not what forced means. When we say that we're in the flow, which is kind of the metaphysical opposite of forced, right? When we are in the flow, the universe is forever bringing us the next step. Coming up against something that appears to be a blockage does not mean it's forced. It would be forced if the next step doesn't come. When the flow happens and the next step comes, that next step shows us how to move through the obstacle. But if we quit the minute we see a locked door, the universe can't give us a key. God can't bring the answer into our consciousness if we go, well, can't have it, I'm out of here. And how often do we do it? How often do we do it? I think of Mark, and I think, imagine if he had looked at his friends making albums, which is a story that he shares quite a lot, and he had said, I don't know how they did it. Well, guess I can't make one. Obviously, that's not what he did. The universe said, wait, you know people who do this. You have people you can ask questions of. You can Google it. We can very often Google it. If Google doesn't have the answer, YouTube does. I don't know what the story is, but YouTube has the answer to everything. A threshold guardian, a barrier, is not the universe saying no. It's the universe saying, are you sure? Are you sure? It gives you the opportunity to pause, take a breath, and listen. And let Spirit guide you to the answer that will move you through whatever appears to be the blockage. And it's important that we learn this lesson because it's not like there's only one threshold guardian. Man, wouldn't that be nice? But that's not how it is. That's not how it is. The threshold guardian is the guardian between where you're at now and the next thing. But as soon as you get past that, what comes up next? The next thing. The next supposed barrier. The next opportunity to learn to move past it, to move around it. A really great way to keep this in mind is to think about obstacle courses. Like think about military obstacle courses, right? You know what I've never seen? An obstacle course where you run the tires and then you're done. It's always, you run the tires and then you've got the monkey bars and then you got to climb over the wall and then you got to crawl through the mud. Obviously, I am not doing a lot of obstacle courses, but I have seen them on TV. It's thing after thing after thing, because that's the way the spiritual hero's journey is. If it was a direct line with nothing to accomplish and nothing to create, it wouldn't be a circle. It wouldn't be a cycle. It wouldn't be an accomplishment, and it wouldn't be satisfying. Part of what is so satisfying about the spiritual hero's journey is becoming something more than you thought you could be. If there weren't any threshold guardians, if it was just like a slow walk in the daisies and then you took a nap, that's a really boring movie, y'all. So Christopher Reeve, if you don't know Christopher Reeve, he played Superman in the 80s, a big, strapping, handsome, classically masculine actor. He played Superman. He had an accident in which he became paralyzed, and he became much more of a hero post-accident through his unwillingness to just lie down and go away. And this is what he had to say. Toward the end of his life, he defined a hero as this. A hero is someone who, in spite of weakness, doubt, or not always knowing the answers, goes ahead and overcomes anyway. This man's threshold guardian is more than most of us could handle. It's more than I could handle. I feel pretty confident saying that. And yet, we always think that. We always think it's more than we can handle until we walk up to the boundary and we listen and we let Spirit guide us and lead us to the next thing. And then, turns out we could do that after all. We are so much more powerful than we think we are because we get trapped in this idea that we are human manifestors. Take a breath with me. About to poke some buttons. That's fun for me. Once we decide not to turn back, we have to recognize what a blockage is. We have to recognize what the blockage is about. And here's a hard truth. We spend a huge amount of energy together as a community and individuals studying spirituality to learn how to take control of our lives and how to manifest, how to take our intentions and press it into the law so that we get what we want. And this is good. This is a good thing. And manifestation brings you up to the edge of that barrier. And it cannot take you farther. And the reason why is that the barrier, the blockage, the threshold guardian is a manifestation too. If everything is an expression of our internal consciousness taking its way into form for our highest and best, and that's literally the entire definition of science of mind, pretty much in a nutshell. If we buy into that premise that everything is an expression of our consciousness, then the threshold guardian, the barrier, the blockage, is our manifestation for our highest and best. And we're standing here as people being like, I don't know how to get around that gate. I don't know what to do. You can't manifest the opposite of your manifestation because it's already the manifestation of your consciousness. How do you move past that? How do you change what's happening in you so that you can get around that barrier? And the answer is you move from kingdom 2 consciousness, the I do it my own self-consciousness, into kingdom 3 consciousness, which is where we let God, through us, bring us the answer. Let that sink in a moment. We can't make the barrier go away with the power of a mind. Imagine laser beams. If I had really good special effects, there would be like red lasers. That's not the way it works. The way it works is we go within and we let the answers come through the higher consciousness, which is the truth of our beingness and the reason we always seem to find a way around those barriers if we stay in it. I think of Harry Potter. I often think of Harry Potter. The Harry Potter series has a special place in my heart, and it's a really good walking out of the hero's journey. And for me, like the penultimate threshold guardian moment for Harry Potter was, he's been told he's a wizard. He's kind of bought into the idea, but when he gets to platform 9 3/4 at the train station to get on his special magical train to wizard school. He doesn't know how to get through the barrier to get onto the special platform. People keep going, they're walking, and then they just disappear, and he can't figure out what they're doing. He doesn't know how to take the transition from normal life, which is the train station in London, into this magical realm to which he's been invited. It is a literal manifestation of his internal question, do I really belong there? Am I really a wizard? Am I really welcome in that world? He couldn't make it through the barrier. So what does he do? He stands there with his owl, as one does, and he listens. And he hears a woman he does not know say, "Packed with muggles, of course." And he knows that muggles, that's a wizard word. And he goes to her and he asks, "I don't know how." That's all he gets out. "I don't know how." And she says, "To get onto the platform." And she shows him how. No amount of pouting, crying, being angry, stomping, no behavior could have gotten him through that barrier but listening and being willing to ask. No, we don't have to go into the train station unless we want to go to Universal Studios and go to the train station. Gosh, when pandemic is over, we're going to Harry Potter Land. What we do is we ask within on the metaphysical level. Spirit is always right there. It always has the answer. It always has the next step. It will always give it to us. Always, 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 always. We have to feel within to recognize what the blockage is about. Harry recognized he didn't know how to get onto platform 9 3/4. We need to recognize not just what the barrier looks like, but what it represents underneath us. What is it that we think we can't do, be, have, understand, conceive of, work through, that Spirit will give us the answer for? Because the minute we know what it is, there's the answer. There's the answer. And it dissolves. So it gives us the opportunity to do our work, to review, dig through that rucksack of spiritual practices. Check it all out, see what we can do. It gives us the opportunity to work with practitioners and ministers to explore the real message behind the blockage. And to ask ourselves one more time, nice and calmly, am I sure? Am I sure I'm willing to be and do what it takes to be and do to get around this blockage? Because sometimes the answer is no, and that's a reasonable answer. I don't want to be a rock star. I know you're all shocked. I don't want to be a rock star. A lot of people, a lot of wonderful, beautiful people have said to me over the years, "You should go on The Voice. You should go on The Voice. You should go on The Voice." The natural outcome of going on The Voice, if I played the game perfectly and I won The Voice, would be to go on tour and sing in front of thousands and thousands and millions and gajillions of people. And you know what? I don't want to. I don't want to travel that much. I don't want to be away from my family. I'd really rather stay home and sing to you. So that's what I do. And yet I had to bump up against that threshold barrier of what would it take to take my music bigger, to realize I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in doing those things. It's important that we honor our no's just as much as we honor our yeses, and to recognize that the universe never tells us no. The no is ours. The no is freedom of will. The universe always says yes, but it will sometimes ask, "Are you sure?" So we don't turn back. We look at what the blockage is about, and then finally, we be open to dramatic divine intervention. So there was this guy. His name was Muhammad, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And he lived in a town, long time ago. He lived in a town that had a festival that honored 360 some gods every year. And he personally believed in only one unified energy that is divine that he called Allah, which is just the Arabic word for God, the God. And he hated this festival. He just hated it. And so every time it came, he would go up into the mountains and meditate and just kind of get away from the crowds and the mess and the ugh. So he's up in the mountains, and all he's praying about and meditating on is, I want to be one with Allah. I want to be one with the one. That's all I want. I just want to be one with the one. I want to understand. That's what I want. That's what I want. That's what I want. And as can happen, up pops the angel Jibrahil. We might pronounce it Gabriel. The angel Jibrahil appears and says, read, and points to this magical document that appears that has all the answers. And Muhammad's like, I don't know how to read. This isn't a time when most people don't know how to read. He doesn't know how to read. I don't know how to read. And Jibrahil says, read. And Muhammad says, I still don't know how to read. And Jibrahil says, read. And Muhammad says, I really, really want to know what's on the paper, but I don't know how to read. And Jibrahil goes, boom. And all of the information downloads into the Prophet Muhammad's brain in its completion right then. The universe said, are you sure? Are you sure you want to know everything? Oh, you're sure? Okay. Here's the answer around that boundary. Boom, all the information's in his brain, and he just starts speaking it out loud, and a scribe's writing it down, writing as fast as this little scribe hand can go, and that becomes the Quran, the holy book, which literally means recitation, because he spoke it out loud from the knowledge that the angel put in his brain. Every culture, every faith, every myth, every story we love is walking out this process for us. And it feels natural to us because it is built into our very beingness as the way we utilize the energy that lives inside of us as divine goodness to move through these processes to make us more and more like the energy of the divine that lives within us. It is slowly, with every yes, burning away everything that is not who we are and leaving a more and more complete expression of the divine. And the only way we can do it is to remember that ultimate divine mentor that's always inside of us and lean into the grace, which is the only path through which the next step can come. And you don't have to do it. You can say, no, thank you. I'm good enough. Right here. This is good enough. Or you can answer that call and keep it front and center every time it gets a little twitchy and a little dangerous looking on your path. This is what Ernest Holmes had to say about it. He said, the power that does the actual doing, God, mind, infinite intelligence, is always right where you are. It's never limited, and within it resides infinite possibilities. There is a necessity on your part to recognize that there is such a power and that all of its potential is available as you cleanse your thoughts and emotions of the debris which may be blocking a greater experience of its good in and through you and your affairs. So this is the invitation. When you hit the barrier, when you hit the boundary, when you hit your threshold guardian on your spiritual hero's journey, this time and every time, recognize it for what it is. It's not a universal no. It's a universal, are you sure? And are you ready to listen? So let's anchor this in prayer. How good it is. How good it is to deepen into this divine knowingness. That's always right where we are. There is only one. And it is in me. It is in each person within the sound of my voice. It is in every sentient being everywhere. And within it is infinite possibilities and every answer, every grace, every goodness. But we have to recognize that it's there and invite in and accept that good. What I know for each one of us is that that which is on our heart, that which appears to be blocking our way, that which is up in our awareness, that as we lean into that grace, as we listen to the voice of the one within, that every answer comes, that every blockage melts away, that every seemingly crooked road is straightened, that the power of the one, the qualities of the one is within each one of us in its entirety, so that there is always more than enough abundance and goodness, wholeness and wisdom, flow and joy. There's always more than enough love. And so I know for each one of us that our arms and our hearts and our minds and our consciousnesses are open wide to receive the allness of good, more than we could ever imagine. I'm so thankful to know that this goodness is pouring into and through each one of us, even as I speak this prayer, that it has always been the truth, that it always will be the truth. And I release this word into the action of universal law, grateful beyond grateful, as we say together, and so it is.